Now, in response to a political hit piece from the Washington Post and the onslaught of attacks that followed from Democrats, well, Attorney General Jeff Sessions is now recusing himself from all Russia election investigations. Let's take a look.
Let me be clear. I never had meetings with Russian operatives or Russian intermediaries about the Trump campaign. And the idea that I was part of a, quote, continuing exchange of information during the campaign between Trump surrogates and intermediaries for the Russian government is totally false. I asked for their candid and honest opinion about what I should do about investigations, certain investigations. And my staff recommended recusal. They said that since I had involvement with the campaign, I should not be involved in any campaign investigation. I have studied the rules and considered their comments and evaluation. I believe those recommendations are right and just. Therefore, I have recused myself in the matters that deal with the Trump campaign.
Now, Attorney General Sessions said the decision was reached over a matter of weeks and not a reaction to a Washington Post story that was published late last night with the headline, "Sessions met with Russian envoy twice last year, encounters he did not disclose." Now, the Washington Post is claiming that last year while serving as a U.S. Senator, that Jeff Sessions met with the Russian ambassador twice and then lied to Congress about this during his confirmation hearings. Now, in his capacity as a senator, Jeff Sessions was a senior member of the Senate Armed Services Committee. So it was not out of the ordinary that he talked to foreign ambassadors because, as a matter of fact, he spoke to dozens and dozens of them last year alone. He was doing his job, and that's not all. Then there's this ridiculous notion that the alt-radical left is pushing that Attorney General Sessions committed perjury. He lied under oath during his confirmation hearing. Now, watch and listen very closely to this exchange that they're referring to between liberal Democratic Senator Al Frankenstein and then Senator Sessions.
CNN has just published a story, and I'm telling you this about a news story that's just been published. I'm not expecting you to know whether or not it's true or not. But CNN just published a story alleging that the intelligence community provided documents to the president-elect last week that included information that, quote, Russian operatives claimed to have compromising personal and financial information about Mr. Trump. These documents also allegedly stated, quote, there was a continuing exchange of information during the campaign between Trump surrogates and intermediaries for the Russian government. Now, again, I'm telling you this as it's coming out, so, you know. But if it's true, it's obviously extremely serious. And if there is any evidence that anyone affiliated with the Trump campaign communicated with the Russian government in the course of this campaign, what will you do?
Senator Franken, I'm not aware of any of those activities. I have been called a surrogate at a time or two in that campaign, and I did not have communications with the Russians, and I'm unable to comment on it.
He was responding to that question, that, quote, breaking news, which, by the way, turned out not to be true. Now, that's what the Democrats are hyperventilating about, losing their minds over? Yes, Jeff Sessions, as a senator, met with a Russian ambassador, but he did so in that capacity, not on behalf of the Trump campaign, which is why, when he was asked specifically about the election, he said, no, that wasn't me. The charge, that wasn't me. And by the way, where was the hysteria from Democrats back during the campaign? Remember Bill Clinton met with the former Attorney General Loretta Lynch in a plane on a tarmac for over 30 minutes while Hillary Clinton was under investigation by the FBI, by the Justice Department? Lynch never recused herself, but unlike Loretta Lynch, Jeff Sessions, well, clearly wanted to reassure you, the American people, that all Russia investigations will be free of any political interference. And now the latest thing is, well, Jared Kushner and Lieutenant General Mike Flynn, they met with the Russian ambassador in December after the president won. So this whole smear campaign is really just part of the Democrats' larger fake news conspiracy theory that Russian hacking is all the reason why Hillary Clinton lost the election, and that somehow members of the Trump campaign secretly coordinated the whole thing. Now, they've been pushing this ever since Donald Trump won the presidency. But back in January, James Clapper, President Obama's own director of national intelligence, said Russian interference did not impact vote tallies, period. And earlier today, the Speaker of the House, Paul Ryan, said there's zero evidence the Trump campaign ever coordinated with Russia.
The House Intelligence Committee just finished coming up with its oversight plan to continue investigations. We will always make sure that we are protecting our sources and methods and getting to the bottom of any of these things. But we have seen no evidence, been presented with no evidence that anybody on the Trump campaign or an American was involved, including with the Russians.
Need more proof? The House Intelligence Committee, that's chairman is Devin Nunes. He said the same thing, and he said it earlier today and also added this.
We got to be very careful here. It's a slippery slope. All the countries in the world basically have embassies here. A lot of those countries are adversaries, but we all meet with those. Many senators and congressmen meet with those ambassadors on a regular basis.
Look, if there's anything that shows that Russia and the people from the Trump campaign somehow conspired and impacted votes in the election, then we'll be all over that story, kind of like what Obama did to try to defeat Benjamin Netanyahu, and we'll give you the details. But the alt-left, propaganda media, and the Democrats for months have been going ballistic over the Russian election influence without any evidence. They never told you the truth, by the way, about President Obama and his own foreign election interference. Now, when I talk about Israel, a congressional investigation found back in 2014 an Israeli political group used $300,000 of Obama State Department grant money, your tax dollars, to create a political apparatus to defeat the Israeli prime minister. Where was the outrage about influencing elections then? Where was the wall-to-wall news coverage? Where was the hyperventilating and mass hysteria? Well, they didn't care because it was their guy, their ideological soulmate that was doing it from the White House. Here with reaction, the